Welcome, everybody. Thank you for joining us for To the Moon, an introduction to cryptocurrency. I am Deborah from NYCPG. You notice my name begins with staff on the participant list. I'll be here during the entire session in case you have any technology issues or questions. If you need assistance or have questions for the presenter, please type them in the chat box at any time. We'll be doing a Q&A. And I would like to introduce to you James.
Hi everybody. My name is James Syphax. I am the manager of community-based services at Prevention Action Alliance. We are a state-level prevention organization in Ohio. We serve all of Ohio. I am coming to you today from unfortunately kind of snowy day here in Columbus, Ohio. So super excited to be here. I get to present at last year's conference. We talked about short squeezes, day trading, that kind of the stuff you may have seen about like GameStop or AMC stocks, those kinds of things. Here today to talk about a little bit about cryptocurrency, a little bit about NFTs, and just kind of lay some foundational information. I'll tell you about me. I was a school-based prevention services provider for about 8 years. Spent a couple years working with prevention coalitions, and I spent 1 year working in chemical dependency treatment, just long enough to know that I much prefer working in prevention. So no offense to the treatment folks that are with us today, but I am a prevention specialist at heart. So in that vein, I am curious who's in the room. We're up to almost 200 people in the room. And I was sharing with Deborah when I came in, this is the part where I'm reminded that public speaking and presenting are job skills, because boy, that's a lot of people. So bear with me. I think we'll get through it though. But let me just see in the chat, tell me, do you work in prevention? Do you work in treatment? Do you work in recovery? Do you work for an operator? Are you part of the gaming industry, public health, public policy? And the fun thing about so many people in the room, we're at 200 even right now. I just kind of I'm watching the chat flow by. So I'm seeing a lot of some treatment, some prevention, community prevention. All right. I feel like I'm with my people. Because I will tell you, we're going to talk about cryptocurrency. We're going to talk about NFTs. And these are things that a lot of people talk about from a lot of different backgrounds. I will tell you that I'm not a tech person. I'm not a finance person. Those are some of the people that really like to talk about cryptocurrency. I am a prevention specialist that just happens to be nerdy enough to understand and be able to explain cryptocurrency and NFTs and all of those things. So we can kind of talk about it. Because we know in the prevention world, access and availability are very important pieces. So as we see the rise in access and availability of some of these things, we know that is going to carry over into increased use. So we'll talk about that. We'll kind of break everything down. I will tell you, to the moon is a term the title of the presentation. It's a term you'll see if you follow along with some of the stuff online on maybe Wall Street Bets or on various social media sites. You hear the term to the moon a lot, right? Because we're going to buy our cryptocurrency, we're going to buy our stocks, we're going to buy our NFTs, and we're going to hold on to them, right? We need diamond hands, and we're going to ride it to the moon. So this is not a space exploration focused presentation. We will go ahead and jump in. So again, we're going to talk about some basics about cryptocurrency, what it is, why people use it, how you get it. And I, in my years in working in school-based services and even in treatment, I'm a big emerging trends guy. And I know some of the folks here with us today are part of some of the same groups I'm in. I'm part of the NCPG Prevention Committee and part of the NCPG Emerging Trends Committee. So I never wanted to be, in all my time working with young people or working with clients, I never wanted someone to say to me, hey, I've done XYZ, or hey, have you heard about ABC? And I don't need to know everything about it. I just need to know enough about it so when a client or a consumer mentions it, I don't have that look on my face that says, oh my God, what are they talking about? I will tell you, as I got older and was still working in schools, Urban Dictionary became my friend. I was getting more and more stuff from the kids that I worked with that I didn't know what it was. So trying to just be, now that I work a little more in the problem gambling services world, just trying to stay up on those emerging trends. So that's what we're going to talk about. I think I do a pretty decent job at staying up in the chat. So I would encourage anyone, if you have a question, throw it out in the chat. Let's talk a little bit. I'll give you my contact information at the end. Give me a call, shoot me an email. I'm an easy enough guy to get a hold of. Find me on LinkedIn, whatever you want. You can find me on Facebook, but just be prepared. It's mostly dog pictures. Nothing groundbreaking about prevention there. Someone asks if I will share the PowerPoint. Absolutely. Right, we're in prevention. Resources are good. If I can share a resource, I'll share a resource. So another kind of internet-related thing that I like to use is a little slang, Eli 5. And I stole this from Wall Street Bets. If you have ever been on there, you'll see Eli 5. Explain it like I'm 5. That's what it stands for. So that's how we're going to start. We're going to talk about cryptocurrency, and we're going to explain it like I'm 5. Cryptocurrency is a form of payment that can be exchanged for goods and services, right? That's not new. Many companies have issued their own cryptocurrency, right? Where you will take, I use Chuck E. Cheese as an example, right? I could have gone into Chuck E. Cheese in 1989 and put $1 in the machine and I would have gotten 4 tokens. And if I go back into Chuck E. Cheese today, and I know they occasionally run deals or have coupons, but generally $1 is going to equal 4 tokens, right? I can't take those tokens to Walmart or Target and spend them. I can only spend them in Chuck E. Cheese. So that's a very basic explanation of what cryptocurrency is, except instead of having those physical tokens in my hand, I'm going to have them in an online wallet. The problem is that I could have bought my Chuck E. Cheese tokens 20, 30 years ago, and they're still going to have relatively the same value. If I trade in $1 for Bitcoin, almost immediately after I do that, I'm going to have more or less than $1. And that's where we start to get into that problem gambling related stuff, right? Because we know that in the problem gambling field, we talk about the distortion of a value of $1. Where when I go to place a wager or make a bet, if I don't know how much one token is, right? If I'm spending 1/10,000th of a Bitcoin or 2 Polkadot or 1 Cardano, I have already kind of lost the value of what $1 is. So it makes it easier to spend a little more. So we'll break all that down a little bit more, but think of them as arcade tokens, right? We're trading US currency for something that has approximate value, but specifically only good in certain places. So in this world, we use the term decentralized a lot. So I like to kind of explain that also, explain it like I'm 5. I'm going to date myself here, and I'm going to ask, who remembers Napster, LimeWire, some early music sharing site? Just somebody, at least one person, give me a yes in the chat so I know I'm not alone. Okay. So I remember, and again, I'm going to date myself, dial-up internet. I would load up 5 or 6 songs in the queue on Napster, and I'd go to bed. And I'd wake up in the morning and be like, yes, I got 4 whole songs downloaded. That's decentralized, right? Because if I go to the iTunes store, I'm getting that song and I'm downloading it from some computer, some server somewhere that Apple owns and operates. If I listen to Spotify, I'm getting my music, streaming it from somewhere that is centrally located, all controlled by Spotify. If I'm using LimeWire or Napster, and I'm just going to use some names that I see on the screen here, Sabrina might have the first 30 seconds of a song, and Deborah might have the second 30 seconds of a song. Let's say you're downloading it, I might have the last minute of the song on my computer. You're pulling bits and pieces, right? Everybody probably has the whole file, but you're pulling bits and pieces from different sources. So we have decentralized that file. Yes, and I see Robin mentioned still done today, Pirate Bay. Yeah, somebody else mentions pirating. Absolutely. I'm not here to endorse anything that's illegal, but I'll tell you that while I'm old enough to remember Napster, I'm young enough that I paid for very few college textbook rentals because you can just download the PDF online. So kind of in that sweet spot. So yes, it's if you pirate anything online, which I'm of course absolutely not recommending that anyone does, it's the same thing, right? Bits and pieces from different computers, different users, all over the country, all over the world. So when we talk about cryptocurrency, we talk about decentralized banking. Because if I say I go to Target, here in Central Ohio, they're actually based in Columbus, is Huntington Bank. Huntington Bank, if I swipe my Huntington card at Target, Huntington computers are going to talk to Target computers. If I use my credit card, Visa might get brought into the loop, but all large corporations, they have all of my financial information, right? So if that computer at Huntington goes down, if that server goes down and I swipe my card, my transaction might be declined. So with decentralized banking and decentralized currencies, which is what cryptocurrencies are, my account information, part of it might be on Sabrina's computer, might be on Janice's computer, might be on Nancy's computer. And together, when I go to make a transaction, we can piece that information together and process my transaction. So if Janice's computer is down, but Sabrina also has all of it, and I apologize to Sabrina, you're the first person I see on my little box here. All of the information is going to be on everyone's computer. So if someone else's computer is down, it can still be processed. We're not relying solely on one server or one business or one bank or one corporation to process my transaction. So when we talk about blockchain, we can see that it's basically a series of decentralized computers, right? It's a decentralized network where all of this information is on multiple computers. So there's no single point of failure. So someone will request a transaction. It will go out to a peer-to-peer network. When we see P2P, that's peer-to-peer, so a decentralized network. And they process the transaction. They package all that data up, and they add basically another link to the chain. So when we talk about blockchain, that's all we're talking about is a chain of data that's coming together from a peer-to-peer network, a decentralized network. Now that is truly the Eli 5 definition of blockchain, right? We could probably talk about blockchain for 8 hours. And I will say that I know a lot of state councils and organizations that work in the problem gambling services field. We all say we're neutral on gambling, right? Here in the state of Ohio, it's legal. Do it responsibly. That's how I feel about blockchain. All right, that's how I feel about cryptocurrency. I'm not here to be an alarmist. I'm not here to tell you cryptocurrency is this horrible thing. Personally, I think blockchain is great from a tech standpoint. I would much rather, I think of my doctor's office. Here in Central Ohio, we have a very large medical provider called Ohio Health. They're one of those places where no matter what kind of healthcare you need or hospital care, they've got everything, offices all over the state. So I would much rather my PHI, my personal health information, be stored in blockchain on a decentralized network than on one computer, than on one server in some Ohio Health office down the street in Columbus. Because if someone were to try to get that information, they only have to get into one server to know everything about me. But if we use blockchain technology in a peer-to-peer network, one computer might only have the block of data on it that has my name and address. Based on the number of junk mail I get, I'm going to say probably a lot of people have that. Another computer may only have my social security number, right? That's in another block in the blockchain on another computer on the decentralized network. So someone could potentially just get a list of social security numbers, but without knowing names, dates of birth, addresses to connect them, a social security number by itself has very little useful information. So think of it that way, right? Instead of all of the data in one place, blockchain and decentralized networks have all of that data broken up, spread out, different places. It's a little more secure. However, when we talk about, I'm thinking of clients that might try to conceal transactions, right? If my spouse knows that I am a person with a problem gambling issue, we're looking at bank statements, right? We're looking at debit and credit card transactions. But if I can slowly, and when we talk about how to acquire some of these cryptos, I can take, $20 here or there, go to my local crypto ATM, make a deposit. I'm slowly building up kind of an untraceable account, an untraceable reserve. And I can make transactions that aren't going to show up on my traditional accounts a loved one in my life may be looking at. Right, we know concealment is a big thing in our world. So we'll talk more about it. And I see somebody says, yeah, much more secure, but it's much more complicated. Absolutely. I saw the University of the Cumberlands in Kentucky, down in Southern Kentucky. I think they're the first university to offer a 4-year degree in blockchain technology. I may be wrong about that. That's what their marketing material said, though. So it is becoming increasingly popular, and definitely is being recognized outside of the cryptocurrency world as a useful technology. So let's talk about cryptocurrencies. Let's get in some of the most popular cryptocurrencies. Right, we've got Bitcoin. We've probably all heard of Bitcoin. Dogecoin, we'll talk about a little more. It started as a joke, right? We talk about FOMO trading, FOMO buying of cryptocurrencies. Imagine if we could go back to 1980 and buy a Microsoft stock. We'd all want to do that. So when we hear things about Bitcoin, that, hey, somebody spent $10 and now they've got $2 million, right? I want to do that. Everybody wants to do that. When I take $10 and I buy 100,000 Dogecoin, and now it's worth $2.2 million, and the New York Times does a story on me, everybody wants to be that guy, right? Who doesn't want to turn $10 into $2 million? So that's, again, how we start to step into some of the issues our clients or our consumers may have, because it makes it sound like it's so easy, right? Everybody just kind of can, with dumb luck, spend $10 here, $10 there, and be a millionaire. The lure is there. So we've got some other ones: Ethereum, Binance, XRP, Tether, Cardano. We're going to look at all these. And actually, I'm going to switch. We're going to bounce back a few times. Can you guys now see, if somebody could just give me a thumbs up or a yes? Can you guys now see my web browser? I may need to, how about now? Yes, all right, I'm seeing some head nods. Okay, so we're going to bounce back a few times between the PowerPoint and looking at things live online, because I could have updated my slide this morning and everything on that slide would be totally different now. That's the rate at which cryptocurrency moves. So this is a great resource. And I've talked to clinicians before that say, hey, my client has, there we go, is that a little, somebody said that it was small and hard to read. Is that a little better? So I've had clients or clinicians say that, hey, my client has mentioned this one I know it's a cryptocurrency. I see somebody mentions in the chat, Luke mentioned Shiba. Yeah. I will tell you, I buy just enough of these. I'll throw $1 or $2 into each one that's kind of up and coming, just so I can follow along. Again, I'm not here to be an alarmist. I don't think cryptocurrency is inherently bad, right? But we know that it's unregulated. We know there aren't consumer protections around it. So we just have to be aware of it. So this is a great site. This tells us, it's kind of a dashboard to tell us almost everything about cryptocurrency. Up here at the top and the top left, you see it says there are 18,092 different cryptos right now. That means there are 18,000 different, right? So there's Bitcoin and then 18,091 other types of cryptocurrency. Obviously, Bitcoin is the one that we hear of most, is the one that we think of most, but it's not just that one. There are literally thousands more. And we look over here to look at the market cap. This is if we were to cash out every cryptocurrency into the US dollar, how much would it total? So right now it's $1.8 trillion. And I know the COVID has thrown this number off a little bit, but usually in the United States, total circulating US currency is about $2.2 trillion. So again, we're not pardon me, we're not talking about a small thing, right? This is an economy of scale. There is a lot of currency being used, bought, sold, traded, and gambled. And we can see here the 24-hour volume, and I know this kind of reads like a stock website, but the amount, the value of cryptocurrency that is exchanged hands in the last 24 hours, is $102 billion. Again, that's really, I mean, we're just an economy of scale. And then we can scroll down and we can see the top performing cryptocurrencies. We can see number one is Bitcoin. That's probably no surprise. It tells us right here the price of one Bitcoin. It's $42,415. It's gone up 9.97% in the last 24 hours, down a little over 4%. Right, this, I mean, if you've ever looked at a stock chart, this reads the same way. We see the market cap, and I like the site because when you see the little eye, the little informational eye, you can put your mouse over it, and it tells you what it is. So the market cap, basically the cash value, the US dollar value of all Bitcoin right now is $800 million. We can see the 24-hour volume, and we can look at, on Bitcoin, we see down here the circulating supply. It tells us right now there are 18 million, almost 19 million Bitcoins in circulation. And there's a max supply of 21 million, right? We know that there's a limited supply, a finite supply of 21 million total Bitcoins. They're not all released yet. That's done through mining, if you've ever heard that term, Bitcoin mining. And then we can see a 7-day value. So we read through them all here, you know, the same data, Ethereum, Tether, we've got Cardano there. We've got Polkadot has dropped a little bit. And what I find interesting is that you can see Bitcoin obviously is worth 42,000. We go down to Ethereum, 2,700. And then by the time we get to number 3, we're at $1. There is, of course, a way you can buy a fractional share, right? You don't have to have $42,000 to buy one whole Bitcoin, right? So if you have a client that you know doesn't have $42,000 lying around, and they say they're buying Bitcoin, they are. They're just buying, you know, one 1/10,000th of one Bitcoin, because you can buy fractional shares. But there's also, we see there's kind of a price point for every budget, right? And then we can get into, somebody mentioned Shiba, right? There it is. We can see 2 100,000ths of a dollar are the value. So with $1, you can buy, I mean, tens and tens of Shiba Inu coins. right? So there's a price point, a crypto for every price point, something for every budget. I see Gary asks, how does the circulating supply and volume change? That's a good question. So with Bitcoin, we see that there's 21 million total, right? They're not all released. So the circulating supply changes when people mine them. And we don't have enough time in this presentation to get into that, but imagine that, right? Sometimes you'll go into a convenience store and they'll say there's a $5 minimum for a debit card or a credit card transaction because there's a processing fee, right? So we know someone in that chain is getting probably a couple of cents for a processing fee. When we talk about Bitcoin mining, imagine you are serving as that processor. The person that serves as that processor and helps to complete the transaction, they get a very, very small amount, a fractional amount of 1 Bitcoin. And that's how it's released. Now, other ones, we can come down to Ethereum and it doesn't show us a max supply. So we would have to look up, hey, did the people that wrote Ethereum, right, the programmers that created this, did they set a max supply? Because it's really up to them. Right? There's no standard rule. Like what works for Bitcoin is going to be totally different than Ethereum, is going to be totally different than Tether. And some of that is appealing to people, right? If I want to invest and know that when I use that term here, I use it in the loosest possible sense. But if I want to invest in Bitcoin, or if I want to invest in crypto, maybe I don't like one that has a finite supply. Maybe I don't want one that has to be mined, right? Because there's a lot going on around Bitcoin about the impact on the environment because of all the electricity, all of the draw basically on the system to process these transactions. But that's a much larger presentation. So yeah, the rule is there essentially are no rules. Everything is different. So while I'm here, I think I was going to do this a little bit later, but let's talk about how to get cryptocurrency. Let me try to log into PayPal here. Right, super easy, right? Because if you don't know a lot about it, and I can tell from the chat, some of you guys know probably just as much as I do, based on the questions you're asking. But there's kind of this air of, right, you've got to be fancy, you have to understand how it works, it's a very tech savvy thing, there's a kind of a knowledge barrier to entry. And that's absolutely not the case, right? I can just log into my regular PayPal account. You can see that every time I do this presentation, I buy $1 worth of cryptocurrency. You can see that my investments are not doing well here, down about 50%. In each one. So I'm going to buy $1 worth of Bitcoin. Just hit buy. Right now, of course, it pops up 100, 500, 5,000. As I know there are other prevention specialists in the room, I think you can appreciate that right now all I have to spare on crypto is just $1. And it's going to tell me that it's probably going to cost, I'm going to send it to my debit card. It's going to cost $1.50, right? Because there's a processing fee. That's how PayPal makes their money. That's why PayPal is selling crypto, because of the processing fee. PayPal doesn't care if I go to the moon or not. And I see Luke says, yeah, some companies will restrict what cryptos you can buy, i.e. Robinhood. Absolutely. So Rob, I don't know if Robinhood does Dogecoin yet. I know that was a point of contention with a lot of Robinhood buyers or Robinhood users, is that they would have to use like Webull or Coinbase or some other platform. And then, with what we saw with some of the short squeeze stuff, with GameStop stock, famously Robinhood stopped, halted trading on GameStop. So there's a lot of upset people with Robinhood. So we can see the price just changed. I think I just lost most of my dollar as the price ticked away there, but so it's easy, right? And PayPal is probably one of the more complicated methods to buying crypto, when I can, from my phone, start a Robinhood account and just do it, literally anywhere. So let's jump back to our presentation here. We'll look at a couple more slides. So where do you get cryptocurrency? Right, we saw PayPal, pretty easy, low barrier to entry. This picture here, if anyone knows, and I know he gets around, Scott Anderson from the Ohio Department of Mental Health and Addiction Services. I know he just spoke at Pennsylvania's conference yesterday, Tuesday. But we do a lot of work together, and we live in the same neighborhood here, just outside of Columbus. And he texted me this picture from a gas station. Right, so I can take my couple of bucks cash, I can go in and use the crypto ATM and I can deposit it, right? I can link this to my online wallet. So it's not going into my bank account. It's not reflecting on any other accounts that, again, we talk about concealment. So if my wife knows that I'm a person with a gambling disorder, she's probably keeping an eye on the accounts, right? So I can use this and have my crypto wallet separate. I'm going to take 20 bucks for cash or 20 bucks for gas. I'm going to put $15 in the car. I'm going to have to start using a different analogy because gas here just hit $4.25. So I'm going to take 50 bucks. I'm going to go to the gas station. I'm going to put 40 in my car, and then I'm going to put 10 in my crypto wallet. Keep it for later. We have gift cards, and there are sites that, and this is true for a lot of things on the internet that are a lot of vices. There are sites that will let you use the unused portion of a gift card and transfer it to cryptocurrency, right? So let's say, and I'm thinking about one, the fact that I was at one time a 15-year-old boy, but also that I spent just about a decade doing school services, 8 years doing school services with middle and high schoolers. I say grandma gets me a gift card right? I get an Old Navy gift card for Christmas. She says, buy some jeans. I buy a pair of jeans. Mom and dad see the jeans, right? In their mind, gift card's gone. So I got $10 left on the gift card. There are sites that I can trade that gift card balance for cryptocurrency, right? They're probably only going to give me $7 for my $10, right? Because there's a transaction fee. But Best Buy, right? I get a $100 gift card to Best Buy. Spend 80. I'm going to transfer 20 bucks somewhere. Of course, gambling sites. We'll look at some of them. And we'll just say, fair warning, we will go to the site. I don't intend to show any actual gameplay. So just being cognizant of who may be in the room, that is something we'll look at here in a little bit. And what I think is really interesting, right, because the whole idea was started by the idea to decentralize banking, right? We want to take some of that power away from large corporations, from large banks. But then I can go to, if you imagine going to Walmart or Target and they've got the wall with the 200 gift cards on there, right? I can buy Olive Garden and Longhorn Steakhouse, and you can buy a Bitcoin gift card, which to me is super ironic because that is the most, right? If we started this to take the power away from large banks and large corporations, I'm going to get my Bitcoin by going to Target and using my debit card to buy Bitcoin. It seems very counterintuitive to that depowering process. So lots of ways to get crypto, right? That's what I'm trying to convey. That's the takeaway, is that if you hear a client, right, because we've probably all heard clients say, oh, well, I've done X, Y, Z. And you think, really? Like, yeah, I know this person pretty well. Is that possible? There's not a barrier to entry, right? You don't have to be a super tech savvy person. You don't have to know complicated websites and processes. You get on PayPal. You buy a gift card, you go to the ATM there in your local gas station. Right? There's almost no barrier to entry, if we're being honest. And we know that once we're in this world, now granted this week, we are expecting an executive order to be signed by the president with some crypto regulations. Not 100% certain what that looks like. And I see someone mentions the lack of banking oversight. Yeah, with all of this, there's no FDIC protections, there's no FINRA laws, once you step into this unregulated world, you have full access to an unregulated world. And I see Luke mentioned the dark web, buying drugs. Absolutely. Once you're in the unregulated world, the unregulated things abound. There's also, talking about the lack of protections, there was within the last year, because anybody can make a cryptocurrency. I was kind of just joking with our executive director. I said, right, we're Prevention Action Alliance. We call ourselves PAA. I said, we could start PAA coin, right? We could sell our own. And I mean, if you're a coalition, that's a great sustainability model, maybe. But right, we could sell our crypto, and then we could pack up and go home, right? It's not, I mean, it feels super ethically dirty, but because there's no laws, there's no FINRA, FDIC, there's no protections, which is what happened within the last year. I want to say 2 gentlemen from Turkey set up a cryptocurrency, collected quite a fair amount of money, because people are quick to jump on these when they're new, because we've heard about Bitcoin, right? Bitcoin used to be worth almost nothing, and now it's worth $48,000, and that's down. A couple months ago, it was worth $60,000. So if I can say, hey, you know what? I'm one person. I'm going to spend $50 on this new crypto. It's going to be a bet. I'm willing to lose 50, but that 50 could be 10 million in 5 years. So you start a cryptocurrency. You collect a couple $1 million and kind of start up, think of it that way, startup funds. And then you pack up, you move to an island with very rough extradition and very loose banking laws, and you're set. Now I know that's a very rare instance, but it did. If you follow along on some of the platforms where people discuss crypto, it definitely did just happen. So I like to talk a little bit about, and I see Robin mentions pump and dump schemes. Absolutely. And if you were in my presentation last year where we talked about short squeezes and trying to force a short squeeze, yeah, you see these things get hyped up. Get on social media, get on some of the subreddits that talk about crypto. And we look at, I'm going to use Elon Musk as an example. There for a while, he was known as the Doge father, right? Big supporter of Dogecoin. He hosted Saturday Night Live. He mentioned Dogecoin. And I was watching, as I had Saturday Night Live on my TV, and I had my laptop opened watching the ticker, the valuation of Dogecoin. And as he would make a joke about it, it would go up a little. Did not huge spikes, not what people were hoping for, but it definitely had an impact, right? So we see these celebrities, right? Mark Cuban, big crypto guy, right? So you can buy your Dallas Mavericks season tickets with the cryptocurrencies he likes. So then I'm going to, right? If I live in Dallas, if I'm a Mavericks fan and I know that I can go buy my soda and popcorn with crypto, maybe I'm going to invest. But he's drumming up support, right? I mean, it's the definition of a pump and dump, right? I'm going to go buy those penny stocks. I'm going to hype them. Once people buy in, I'm out. So we see the celebrities using their platforms to raise value. Pardon me, and I will say, yes, that is a Slytherin mug, just because I know some of you, there are too many people in the room that no one, almost 300 people in the room, one of you just recognized that's a Slytherin mug. So let's talk about day trading. because we know that day trading is a regulated market, right? It's Monday through Friday, assuming it's not a holiday. The market is open during business hours, essentially. And I think back to my time working in substance abuse treatment, right? We know that the amount of substance someone consumes increases over time. We know the frequency with which they consume that substance increases over time. And I kind of liken it to trading, because a lot of people have moved from day trading into buying, selling, trading cryptos. Because if I am operating in a market that's only open Monday through Friday, 9 to 5, what do I do on the weekends? What do I do after hours? Maybe I'll get fancy, get on the Nikkei or a foreign market, so I can have a little bit of after hours access to the market. Cryptocurrency is a 24/7, 365 global market, right? We saw that right now the total valuation is $1.8 trillion. I can find any kind of action at any kind of investment level anytime, right? 24/7, 365 if I want to watch. And especially if we're used to day trading, and then we start to look at, right, we day trade, but then we don't fully understand crypto. But then I get on CoinMarketCap and I see that it reads just like the stock sites that I've been following. It's pretty easy for me to pick up. So it's not at all. And there's some data starting to come out that tells us that people are kind of moving from day trading into crypto. And especially when we have some of the apps like Robinhood, where I can do fractional stock shares, but also crypto. That access and availability is there, that on one platform, I can buy, my penny stocks. I can buy, $10 worth of an Amazon share, and I can buy $100 worth of Dogecoin, all in one place, all right on my phone. Again, very low barrier to entry. So we're seeing that day trading audience kind of move into cryptos. So I'll hit quickly on Dogecoin. It started as a literal joke, right? That's the takeaway. We can look at the value in it now. We can see the millions and millions of dollars that it's worth. Started, I want to say it was two engineers, from IBM and Adobe. They got together, they saw what was happening with Bitcoin, and they said, hey, let's make a parody cryptocurrency, right? The meme of the dog, the Shiba Inu, it was a popular internet meme, became their icon for Dogecoin. Dogecoin has kind of taken off. We see championed by Elon Musk, Mark Cuban, both of them got behind it. And it became very serious. And now we have, as someone mentioned, Shiba Inu, which is kind of the parody of the parody. But again, that has gained so much popularity that I would be hard pressed to call it a parody at this point. Right? When people are spending millions and millions of dollars, and when you can get on these forums that are meant to hype these specific cryptos up, and see that when it dips in the market, and I talked about this in my day trade or my short squeeze presentation, we see the same types of language from people saying, hey, it's not down, right? The market is not down. Yes, we've lost value today, but it is on sale. I am glad that the value of Dogecoin is down because now I can buy more. It's not the unrealized loss. It is on sale. We can see people online saying things, and I encourage you to follow some of these subreddits and various hashtag Dogecoin, hashtag Doge, DOGE on Twitter. Hey, it's Friday. I got paid today. Dogecoin is down. I want to get in on the sale. So instead of buying my medication this week, I'm going to split the last couple of pills I've got half, and I'm going to take advantage of the sale. The distorted thinking is real. And again, I'll say again, I'm not here to be an alarmist, but these are the same things that we hear from people with problem gambling disorders when we talk about going to the casino, right? it's Friday, I got paid, I'm choosing this over that. And they're saying the same things about cryptocurrencies, about AMC stock, about these real emerging trend things that probably not a lot of us are familiar with. So where can I spend cryptocurrency, right? We've talked about what it is, where I can get it, where can I spend it? AMC Theaters, Burger King piloted it for a little bit in 2017. iTunes. What I love is that Lamborghini and Lamborghini and BMW are on here, because we talk about the air of, right? It's cryptocurrency, it's tech savvy, you have to understand these things. There's a certain persona about buying and selling and trading cryptocurrencies. Right? No one is buying a Chevy Cruze with Bitcoin, but sure, you can buy a Lamborghini with it. We talk about the way gambling is portrayed in the media, and I think this lends itself to that a little bit. On the other side, you're going to see some names that, if you've ever talked about social casinos, Big Fish Games is probably not unfamiliar to you. There's a great, from maybe 2 or 3 years ago, a great PBS article. Just Google PBS social casino. There's a great 8 or 9 minute piece they did from, I think, PBS NewsHour that really explains social casinos. Zynga, I always like to point out, is the company that went public with the billion dollar valuation. And they're the company that made Farmville, right? I know it's kind of it's no longer the flavor of the month, but as a field, we spent a lot of time talking about loot boxes, microtransactions, all that gaming related stuff. So of course, the company that kind of pioneered the microtransaction, right? 99 cents for some tractor gas for your Facebook farm. And that's a sentence that I understand just sounds ridiculous. But that company is, of course, accepting cryptocurrency. So where can you spend it? Decentralized casinos, right? We have decentralized currencies and decentralized banks. So of course, decentralized casinos followed. They are, again, they're unregulated, right? If the currency is unregulated, the gambling platform is unregulated. Here in Ohio, we have 11 gambling properties. One of my favorite projects that I get to lead for the state is that every 2 years, we go and we do environmental scans on all 11 properties. We look at every player protection sign, video, poster. We do an environmental scan in the parking lot, in the bathroom, the gaming floor, the cash. I mean, we go into the properties and we pick them apart. In my interactions with the 11 operators, some of them love to see us. It's a chance to improve. Some of them aren't so fond of seeing us come in, but right. So we know that in the casinos and racinos in Ohio, if I go to get money out of the ATM, there should be some consumer protection signs, right? We have a statewide campaign. We know the properties have their own campaigns. There should be some information about the VEP or problem gambling right there on the cash cage, on the inside the bathroom, in the parking lot. There's no such thing in decentralized casinos, right? Crypto is easily acquired and it's anonymously acquired. There's no 1099s the W2G. There are no consumer protections. There's nothing in place here, right? No one is going to come up and say, hey, maybe it's time to get up and take a walk, right? Let's walk away from the table. No protections in place. And I'm going to switch over. Right, we'll just jump in here. We'll look at a couple websites. Right, here's CardXCoin. Right, this is where I can trade my gift cards. Right, so I'm gonna well, I don't know. Personal decision. I wouldn't ever trade a Buffalo Wild Wings gift card. But let's say I've got one lying around. I'm going to cash it in for Ethereum. And I've got $8.92 left on my gift card. And it'll tell me that it's going to give me $4.64 worth of Ethereum. Hit get started. I'll load in my card number, load in the PIN, and we're good to go. I'm going to get Ethereum loaded into my crypto wallet. A couple things coming in the chat. I see Kathy asks, are there any tax implications, capital gains? Yes, right. We saw that this was the first year that if you filed your taxes, you're going to be asked about capital gains because of cryptocurrency. I see, is Bitcoin another form of the stock market? Bitcoin is just a type of cryptocurrency, but it's something that can be bought, sold, and traded on an exchange similar to the stock market. I see some Robin talking about NFTs. Yep, I think my last slide or two, we'll hit on those super briefly, maybe, even though I know we're coming to a close. Right, Coinbase, you can just buy crypto gift cards for someone, right? It's graduation time. Here's $100 worth of Bitcoin. Bitcoin ATMs or crypto ATMs. I will say I've got, New York is an oddly shaped state. It's not as square as Ohio, so it's a little hard to get it all in this screen. Right, we can see where ATMs are. I encourage you, look at the gambling properties in your community and see how many crypto ATMs are around there. We know that in Las Vegas, on Fremont Street and on the Strip, tons of crypto ATMs. So I'm going to zoom into Buffalo here a little bit. Let me just say shout out to anyone in the room from Buffalo, because you guys have sponge candy. And what I wouldn't give for, is it Watson's? Is that the chocolate shop that does the sponge candy in Buffalo? Big fan. But we can zoom in and we can see where these are. All right, website's not working, not cooperating for me. So I don't want to spend too much time on this, but you can see in your community where your crypto ATMs are. Will tell you if you can buy, if you can sell, right? So cash in or cash out. It will show you the different types of cryptos that you can access at that specific location. And then this is Rocket is a great crypto online casino. I should say a great example of an online crypto casino. I'm certainly not endorsing anything. Right, I'm not going to open up any of the games. I'll tell you this Rocket Run game is perhaps the most popular. If you get on social media, I heard this morning talking, someone mentioned TikTok this morning, right, as a way to endorse gambling or promote gambling. People do this for social media followers, right? I'm going to place a big wager, right? High risk. People are going to want to watch that. People are going to follow my social media channels to watch me place these large wagers. And I'm going to build a social media audience. I'm going to become, or hopefully become, an influencer through my gambling activities. So this is a great example of an online casino, a crypto casino. And we'll talk about NFTs. I encourage you to look at DraftKings. They are starting to explore NFTs, right? So again, we talk about the cross-platform, right? On one app, I can do my crypto, I can do my fractional stock trades, my day trading, all that. DraftKings doesn't want to get left out, right? They're certainly not the only ones, but we know that when one of the largest sports betting companies starts to get into NFTs, we know it's not just because they love blockchain technology, right? There's definitely a crossover opportunity there for the audience that gets involved in one to get involved in the other. NFTs, let's go back to the slide deck, and we'll hit on NFTs just real quick. NFTs stand for non-fungible tokens. So the easiest way to explain this is that $1 US, if I have a US dollar and Sabrina has a US dollar, they're fungible, right? We can trade them, they're equal value. Non-fungible means that they cannot be equally traded. A good example is, especially as we talk about NFTs, because personal taste comes into account, airplane seats, right? Let's say, for those of you that know Dan Trillaro, he and I are traveling to the state of Washington next month to do a presentation for the Evergreen Council on problem gambling. Let's say he and I end up on the same plane. I prefer a window seat, he prefers an aisle seat. I like to sit in the front of the plane, he likes to sit in the back of the plane. Right, so we could pay the same amount of US dollars for our plane ticket. We could be going to the same place, leaving the same place, traveling to the same place, leaving and arriving at the same time. But because our personal preferences come into account, those things are no longer fungible. They are now non-fungible. So they do not have equal value, which is what we take into account for things like art. So if I'm going to buy the digital rights to a picture, to a sound, to a video clip, whatever it may be, and that's essentially all NFTs are the electronic rights, the ownership rights. And we can see the picture here, sold for $69.3 million. It was bought using Ethereum. And this was really the thing that launched the NFT market. So that's essentially, and I know that's a very explain it like I'm five version. If you have more questions about NFTs, let's connect. Right, I use the example right behind me. I know you can barely see him. I have some artwork from the Cincinnati Reds. I was born and raised in Cincinnati, love the Reds, love the Bengals for better or worse. So I paid good money for those. Those are prints. I got them at the All-Star Fan Fest when I was in Cincinnati in 2015. You guys, I'm assuming, being from New York, maybe there's a Reds fan, but I'm going to assume most of you aren't Reds fans. So you wouldn't have paid what I paid for those limited edition signed prints, right? So that's where the accounting for taste comes in. Because I can explain NFTs, I can explain the technology. I cannot explain why someone paid $8,000 for this piece of digital pizza that Pizza Hut sold as an NFT. There's no accounting for taste. So I know that was a very brief on NFTs. I will share my slide deck. Happy to, I know I'll get it to the New York Council and they will host it online. Feel free to reach out. Shoot me an email, give me a call, whatever the easiest way for you is. If you want to learn more, if you have questions, I have my phone's been going off. I already got a couple of LinkedIn requests, I'm assuming from people in the room. So connect that way, whatever works for you. Hopefully you found some value in this. I know that at this point I have enough CEs for probably the next 10 renewal cycles. So if people are attending a Zoom presentation, it's because you find it interesting. It's because you want to be here. So I will say thank you all for the time. I know it was only an hour, but this is right, 12:30 to 1:30 is prime middle of the day work day. So thank you all for your time. I really appreciate it. And thank you to the New York Council for having me back.
Thank you very much, James. This is a really great informative session. I would like to thank James for the information that he shared today. I would like to thank everyone for coming. Up next, lunch will be from 1:30 until 2:30 p.m. At 2:30 p.m., problem gambling, gambling motivated crime and gender will be next. Thank you, everyone. See you at 2:30. Thank you so much, James. Awesome.
Thank you, Deborah.
You're welcome.